What's going on, everyone? So Lakers starting unit is fine. They're giving you like 100 points a game. The commentators even mentioned that, which is incredible, right? But the issue is the bench. Now, it's only been 4 games. You have young guy and Max Christie, young guy and Dalton Connect that are asked to basically be your 6th and 7th man off the bench. They're going to have their roller coasters. I know people are kind of down on Max Christie right now. Dalton Connect didn't have a great game this last game. They're young. Right? You got to give them a little bit of an opportunity. You got to give them a good fair amount of games end of the season. I'm not saying, by the trade deadline or anything, but no, let's see what they look like game 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, right? Right now, 4 games in, they're going from, in Dalton Connect's case, not even being in the NBA to now having to be a key integral piece. And then Max Christie, who basically was just sporadic at times as far as playing time went, and under Darvin Ham, where he had no structure, no real idea of am I playing 10 minutes tonight? Am I playing 3 minutes tonight? Right? It's like averaging 5 minutes a game and getting 3 attempts, right? Now he's going to, hey, we need you to be a lockdown defender, to defend the best player on the other team, come off the bench and be the 6th man, right? He's going to have his hiccups. He's going to have his moments. And so to me, I just think we need to be fair to those two, the young guys, before we start going they're trash, get rid of them. It's done. It's over with. Now, again, I don't believe anyone on this team is untradeable. And I do think once you get Christian Wood, who was a big thing that I talked about in the offseason, was because Christian Wood is a guy that's already proven. Right? He's a guy that we know can give you 17 and 8 off the bench. He's done it in several stints with other teams. Also, I think he'd really thrive in this offense under JJ Redick and the way that JJ Redick would be able to empower him and utilize him. Also, Christian Wood is the closest thing we have to supplementing some of the stuff Anthony Davis provides. Obviously, he's not Anthony Davis. That's not my point. What I'm talking about is some of the things as far as the offensive repertoire goes, right? Christian Wood is kind of one of the only guys with size that we have that can play center, play power forward, can, you can run pick and roll action, you run pick and pop action. He can spread the floor, knock down the 3 ball, knock down the mid range. You can post him up and he can score around the rim, right? Gives you a little bit of when Anthony Davis goes to the bench, you have that big fella that you can just give the ball to and he can go to work. Obviously, he's not a real 7-footer, right? But against most bench units, he'll be fine. Against most bench teams, he'll be fine. He's not obviously the defender and shot blocker that Anthony Davis is, or rim protector that Anthony Davis is, but he is a guy that, as long as he's not on an island, he can kind of clean up, be the help defender, and also he's a guy that has shown that he can defend out on the perimeter. So I do think that that'll help, and then also when Jared Vanderbilt comes back, do think Jared Vanderbilt will go a long way too. Obviously, he's not the scorer in the traditional sense, not a guy that's going to be shooting 40% from 3 or anything like that, but he's another guy that is long, lengthy, explosive, athletic, that you can put in various spots to kind of just give you, kind of like in the Jackson Hayes type role. You can put him, he can help keep balls alive, he can get offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. On top of that, his ability to create turnovers, live ball turnovers, and regular turnovers that lead to more offensive possessions. So I don't think it's panic mode yet as far as hey, we need some bench help, right? But it is a concern, and it's something that, again, I highlighted and talked about in the offseason, made a whole video diving into it, because it is something we need to keep an eye on, right? When you put all 5 of your best offensive weapons into the starting unit, and all of your bench guys are all defensive pieces, not really scorers. Like Gabe Vincent isn't a guy that's going to go off and give you 15 on a nightly basis. Could he have a game here and there? Sure, but he's not a guy that regularly is going to go give you 15. The only 2 guys that we have that could potentially give you that offensive bench production is Max Christie and Dalton Connect. But again, they're so young, they're so inexperienced, right? And you see that, right? Max Christie is out of position at times. He tries to do too much, or at times even gets lost. Dalton Connect, we're trying to make a push, trying to gain some momentum. He just takes an ill-advised shot rather than letting the offense get in. Let's get into our set. Let's get into our action. Let's get a good bucket here. Again, it's fine. I'm not worried about it right now. They're young. They're going to have their moments. They're going to have their highs. They're going to have their lows. But you're relying on two guys that just don't have the experience, don't have the understanding, don't get, okay, like, we're trying to do this, let's not do this, right? And so I do think it is something that Lakers may need to address one of two ways. Again, I would first, if I'm the Lakers, see what does Christian Wood do for you. If he can come in and give you, not even saying he has to give you 17, but let's say he gives you 12, right? 12 points a game off the bench, like regularly. You know, he has his game, gave you 6, and then he has his game where he gave you like 22. But let's say most nights he's giving you 12. And then you have like Dalton Connect pitching in, giving you around, 8. And then you have, Max Christie, say, gives you 6 to 8. Right? Now you're getting 20 points roughly. And then you have, your starting unit that's giving you 100 a night collectively. Okay, now you're at 120 points a game, right? And that's not counting like what Jackson Hayes gives you, Gabe Vincent gives you, Jared Vanderbilt when he's healthy, right? Like, so I would first take a second, step back, evaluate kind of what does this look like. And then it's like, okay, if you still have those bench concerns, again, then you have two options. Either A, you move somebody from your starting unit, a Rui, a Reeves, a D'Lo, move one of them to the bench, and then throw in, maybe like a Vando or something like that. Maybe you're swapping Rui with Vando. And then now Rui can kind of be more of a focal point off the bench. Maybe that's something that you're doing. Or you look for a trade in which you can maybe get back a piece or two for the bench, right? So maybe that's what the Lakers will ultimately need, right? Like maybe it's not, hey, maybe you're turning D'Lo into like two key kind of rotation pieces rather than like, taking him and Rui or whatever and going and getting a Zach LaVine or a Jeremy Grant or something like that. Maybe you are like, hey, maybe we can take, D'Lo and Gabe Vincent, that gives us $29 million. Maybe we can get, like a Bruce Brown and a Walker Kessler, get you a piece or two where you're kind of like getting that maybe better fit in the starting unit and then getting you like a piece, maybe even two, in the bench unit, right? That could be something that the Lakers look to do rather than like, hey, let's go get these big pieces. Maybe it's like, let's get like a medium-sized piece and then two smaller pieces that can come in. And so now we're 6-7 deep. Now, I mean, you look at most of the top teams though, right? They're not really deep. Like the Knicks aren't very deep. The Celtics weren't very deep and aren't still very deep. Denver, when they won, weren't very deep and they're still not very deep. Right? Like you look at a lot of the teams, yeah, Minnesota's pretty deep. You look at like Philly, if they can stay healthy and figure stuff out, they look pretty deep. So, push comes to shove, I think the Lakers would be fine. And then once you get to the playoffs, you're probably shortening your rotation to like 7 guys anyway. But the problem and concern is if Christian Wood, it puts so much pressure on Wood, right, in my opinion. Because if Wood can come in and be that, again, 15-point-a-game guy, 12-point-a-game guy, right, you don't need somebody necessarily, because the starters are going to give you so much offensive production, and you've seen J.J. Redick's going to scatter them throughout the course of the game. Right? There's always going to be 2, if not 3 starters on the court at all times. So a guy like Christian Wood, can he come in and give you, like I said, 12 a night, 15 a night? Now you're not as concerned, right? Now he's your 6th man, and now Max Christie is your, or Dalton Connect, however it works out. But no, now one of them is your 7th, one of them is your 8th, rather than right now it's like Jackson Hayes and Max Christie and Dalton Connect. Those are kind of like your 3 guys that you're praying could be something. And Gabe Vincent. All right. Christian Wood could be the solution to where, no, I'm not saying that like, oh, now Lakers have a top bench in the league, but Christian Wood could kind of right the ship enough to where it's not as big of a concern. Right? And especially Wood's versatility, because you can slot him technically 3 through 4, right? And have like so like on offense, he can kind of be little out in the perimeter, kind of in that like free throw 15 out type, and then you can run different actions and stuff, and even get him going downhill at times, and then have him in some spots, kind of like operate him in a way that you kind of operate Rui, where Rui, yeah, he's at times spotted up at top of the key, but other times he's kind of, down closer to the block, right? Like, you can kind of utilize Christian Wood and his versatility offensively. So I really think it boils down to him. His return, one, can he stay healthy? But if he can come in, he can kind of right the ship. Probably takes him a couple games, right? That's why I really don't think the Lakers are going to do anything for at least 20-plus games. I think the Lakers trade for a center no matter what. Like, I do. I think the Lakers end up trading for Valanciunas, at least something, Walker Kessler. I think that they land somebody like that no matter what. And so I think beyond that, it will dictate kind of through 20 to 30 games, how do the starters look, right? Like right now, D'Lo looks like the odd man out, right? It looks like he's getting back to being Austin Reeves that we saw not last year, but the previous year, right? In that stint where it's like, yeah, like this is a guy, go get you 20 a night and, make plays and do a little bit of everything for you, right? Austin Reeves is starting to look like the Austin Reeves we need him to be. And then, you have Rui, who, he's through these first 4 games has been the second most consistent as far as like what production. Reeves has been our second best player overall, in my opinion. But Rui's been our arguably our second most consistent behind Anthony Davis through every game. Right? Reeves just been spectacular these last 3 games. Right? So I think as long as you're in that realm, I think you're fine. But I'm curious to see how JJ and the Lakers as a whole, how they kind of operate going forward. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you have concerns with the bench unit? Do you think that Christian Wood can solve some of that? Do you think, not even he will be enough? Do you think the Lakers need to make a move? Just be patient. We'll let things play out, see how it goes. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.